What's up, everybody? You are listening to Come On Man, a 3% Man podcast. I'm your host, Paul Bauer, and I am on the road to being a 3% man just like you. If you're new to the show, this is a podcast for fellow students of Corey Wayne's book, How to Be a 3% Man, and for men who just want to be better in general. We talk about dating, gaining wealth, being happy, and using the law of attraction to get everything we want in life. What's up, everybody? You are listening to another week of Come On Man. I am glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. If this is your first time, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform of choice. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe and also go ahead and hit those notifications because you can't just subscribe anymore. You have to be notified, right? It's lame, but please do it. And also, if you're listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps more than you know. All right, this week is a pretty good episode. I have 3% brother Reuben V, a young blood from San Diego. He reached out to me. He was really excited to tell his 3% story. So I said, hey, why not, man? When are you free to get together? So he joined me and we talked about, his 3% path. And I will be bringing you that conversation right after these words. If you guys are anything like me, you're tired of going to grocery stores, buying grooming products that are designed for men, but they just suck. Or they smell girly. I also hate going to expensive department stores like Macy's and getting cologne that makes me smell like a little bitch. I want to smell like a fucking man. And I think most women want their men to smell manly as well. And that's why I've partnered with Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon has products for men. They have products that make you smell manly as hell. They have big ass bars of soap. They have really thick body wash. They have beard oil and beard balm, hair care products. My favorite is their big ass bar of soap. Smells like naval supremacy. It is awesome. And I also buy all of their liquid cologne. It really makes you smell manly, and they have tons of different fragrances. In fact, I have some for each day of the week. Also, when you purchase from Duke Cannon, some of your purchase goes to help out veterans. And if you use duke.comeonmanpod.com, link is in the description, you get free shipping. Win-win. This stuff smells so goddamn good, and the ladies love it. Trust me. Again, that's duke.comeonmanpod.com. The link is in the show notes. All right. This week, we have Reuben V, our 3% brother from San Diego, calling in. What's up, man?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. So you reached out to me on, I think it was Facebook Messenger, right? Facebook Messenger. And you said that you wanted to tell your 3% story. So let's let's get right into it, man. What led you to first read How to Be a 3% Man?
Well, yeah, it's a funny story because before I was in a really, really bad relationship, and we had broken up. This was when I was like 19. We'd broken up.
How old are you now?
The first time. Say that again.
How old are you now?
Oh, I'm 23.
Okay.
I'm 23 now. Yeah, and so I searched up red flags. I was on YouTube, and I found Coach, and some other people too, but I didn't want to hear it. And so I went back. I just completely negated everything he was saying.
Sure.
And then I just kept dating her, and it was just a fluctuation of really bad. It was just a really bad relationship. And eventually, after so many breakups and finding out that she had cheated on me and this and that, it was just yeah. So I was definitely it was a whole 9 yards with this girl. And so I finally was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm gonna search him up. And I had been cherry picking for a long time, just watching these videos. And eventually, when I had started dating the girl I'm dating right now, that's when I was like, I need to get the book.
Okay. Got it. What do you, how do you find the book is different than his videos?
Well, definitely the fundamentals. I mean, I feel like in anything that you do, you need to learn the basics. I feel like he definitely has a lot more anecdotes in there in the book compared to like he kind of just barely. I feel like in the videos he barely like, brushes over the experiences he had, and yeah, so.
Oh, I always found funny with his videos, and I don't watch a lot of his videos. I talk about it on the podcast a lot, but Corey Wayne's very circular, where you read the book and he says, Google Corey Wayne, blah, blah, blah. And so you do that, and then it takes you to one of his videos. And then in the video, he says, read my book.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, I'm reading the book. That's how I got here, motherfucker. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But no, he still has some really good stuff too. So how many times have you read the book now?
I listened to it 23 times.
On Audible?
Yeah. Okay. I plan on listening to it a lot more because I never want to like assume that I know everything, and especially because it helped me so much in like personal growth and how I talk to people now. So yeah.
So 23 times, that's more than I've read it. I've read and listened to it 16 times. But like, do you just listen to it like over and over again, like while you're at work? Like, how are you getting in those high numbers?
So I work a lot of construction jobs, and so I'm able to like, there's a lot of things that I do that I'm just able to put on my headphones or earbuds and like just start listening to it. And I'm very like audio visual type guy, so I can like picture everything he's saying, and it really like I really learned that way more. I mean, I still read like regular books, like, but for that I was like, you know what, I'm going to continue to just like embody it as much as possible. And sure. I feel like that helped me a lot, especially because of my work. So
yeah, definitely. There's one of the admins on the page. He's not very active anymore. He used to be a lot more active in the group. His name is Nathan. Okay. And he's been on the podcast before, but he's in the Navy now. But before he joined the Navy last year, he was working as like a cook or something. He was working at a restaurant. And so he would just put it on his headphones and do an 8-hour shift. And the book is only 7 hours long. So he would just sit there and listen to it every day while at work. And he I think he's listened to it 1,000 times now. I don't know, but it's it's definitely easier to get through it on audio, I think, because I listen to audio books in general when I'm out running, when I'm at the gym, while I'm driving in my car. And so it's like effortless learning that way. Whereas when I sit down with the book, and I've read the paperback twice, but just sitting down with the book takes me forever because you actually have to sit and make time for it, you know? And it just takes forever. So let me ask you this. Have you read any other dating and relationship books?
Because of you, I started listening to Dating Essentials for Men, and I'm on my second listen right now. So
what do you think of that?
I do like it a lot better because I feel like it goes into a lot more detail, especially with like SLBs, like the self-limiting beliefs and stuff like that, and like what you tell yourself. And so, I feel like I can pick up a lot more with that book compared to like Coach Corey Wayne's.
Did you see my?
No offense to him, but
no, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Corey even listens to this. I hope he does. I want to get him on the podcast this year. Yeah. But one of the guys in the 3% Man group at the time of this recording posted something today, and it was basically all the things that make your great cake of a life, and which is one of the things that Dr. Robert Glover comes up with. It's like a list of 10 different things, like, work out every day, have hobbies, have interests, like hang out with dudes and like all sorts of stuff. Right. And so I posted a video comment. I don't know if you saw it, but I basically said, I kind of feel like Dating Essentials for Men is a superior book to 3%.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been feeling that way lately. I'm not going to lie.
Well, and some of this stuff too is, like just like his texting and phone call approach, which is it's like, I feel like Corey's strategy is very almost gameplay, like, I mean, we don't want to be texting buddies. We definitely don't want to, like, I feel like a lot of us have fallen in that trap in the past where, we over text, we over pursue. So, but Corey's like, set the definite date and then like don't talk to her for like a week and shit, you know, like, and then after the date, wait a whole week, you know, 4 to 5 days to set the next definite date. I mean, I just, I feel like a lot of women, you weed out a lot of women like that, but a lot of them probably don't need to be weeded out. And and whereas Dr. Glover's book, he says after you have like a good date with a woman, text her the next day and say, "Hey, I had a good time." Then wait 3 days, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just it's just a more common sense approach.
Yeah, the girlfriend I'm with now, she really hated that. She really hated the fact that I set the date and then I wouldn't talk to her for like a whole week, but she would consistently like reach out to me to try to get, you know, something from me. And I was like, no, this is when I was like really like strict with the book. I was like, no, I got to follow what he says. And,
right. Yeah.
And
yeah. Women, I mean, it does work to the extent, right? Like it got her to reach out. And that's the point of it. You want them to chase you a little bit, but Jesus Christ, like I feel like I've missed out on so many, you know, chances with women because they see it as gameplay and they just are like, they take it as like, you're not interested, you know? And so I decided, and I feel like one of the best things too about Dating Essentials for Men is that he wants you, and he's a doctor too, right? So he wants you to look at dating like it's a science experiment, like test things out, see what works for you, see what doesn't, right? Take notes and shit. And that's just a smart approach, I think. So I feel like, you know, taking some of those stuff like Corey teaches, and then, you know, if it's not working for you exactly, then it's like, okay, well, let's change things up. Why is this not working? Let's try a different approach. So I'm going to, for the next 2 months, I'm doing an experiment where I'm going to go with Dr. Glover's texting advice.
Okay.
Know? And I've already been doing Dave Parada. I just had him on the podcast recently at the time of the recording. And Dave Parada, I've been following him for a long time. I don't know if you're familiar with him. But
I'm not that familiar.
Oh, well, you get on that train. That guy's pretty smart.
Okay.
He's on, what about How To Beast? You ever follow How To Beast on YouTube?
I believe so. Yeah. I think I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. So Dave Parada, that's how I found him is he's always on How To Beast's channel because How To Beast and him used to be roommates. And Dave Parada's written a bunch of books too. And he recommends confirming with women. He recommends like the night before sending out like a confirmation text and stuff like that. And I find that I get a lot less flakes when I do that. And if women do, like women are going to flake anyway, like some women are just fucking flaky. But if you send that confirmation out, they'll either confirm or they'll ghost you or they'll cancel on you, right? But the ghosting and confirming or ghosting and canceling, they're not doing it because you're confirming. They're not like, oh, he's weak, I'm canceling. Like they were going to do it anyway. So the whole thing with Corey and not confirming, I'm like, that doesn't work for me either. So I'd say like those two areas need improvement in the 3% path. Okay, so you've read Dating Essentials for Men twice. We talked a little bit about how they differ, I think. What was your last time going through the 3% Man book? What was your last aha moment? Where you heard something and you're like, it clicked with you all of a sudden. You're like, oh shit, I don't remember hearing that part before. And that makes sense. And let me try that. I don't know.
Well, because I've been in my relationship for 2 years now, especially towards the end when he talks about like, I'm trying to remember if it's like the 10 things that you're supposed to do. Like, I'm not married, but like I try to implement this stuff as far as like talking about the relationship, how we feel, like how we love each other and stuff like that. I had like, I'm not gonna lie, these past couple of months, I had just been like starting it back up on being more active and being more like affectionate towards my girlfriend.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was just, because I noticed that like a lot of this stuff in the book is about like dating and like not really like the long-term portion. So
right. Yes.
it was like an aha, like, oh, I've been fucking I don't know if I can curse on here, but
Yes,
like I've been fucking up. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, I've been fucking up a lot like in this area, you know, just like not communicating completely. So
yeah, I did a podcast. By the time this will drop, it will have been a couple of months ago. But I did a podcast episode with the founder of the 3% Man Group, Chris Kokoski. And we recorded that episode back in like November, December of last year. And it was when I was dating a gal that I referred to on the page as a Marine Corps chick. Okay. And the thing about that was Marine Corps chick's mom found the podcast, and like she listened to it, and then like Marine Corps chick's brother listened to it, and everything is like a space-time continuum, right? Like I record all these shows in advance. And so the episodes that they were listening to had come out like 2 months or so before she and I even started dating. So I was talking about these chicks that I was banging. I was talking about these chicks that were just like train wrecks and stuff like that. And so of course they're listening to that going, this guy's like seeing other women and all this stuff. And at that time I wasn't, you know, like I this was when we were exclusive. I was like, no, babe, there's a space-time continuum here. You know, I was like, that was all months ago. And one, like you shouldn't have sent your mom those links. But you know, the cat's out of the bag now, so whatever, I just fucking owned it. But it made me think, like, you know what, there is definitely a night and day difference in the book between, like, I would say the first 2/3 of the book is all about dating, how to attract women, how to build attraction, like how to present yourself as, you know, a high value man and stuff like that, and how to be a high value man and be mysterious and shit. But then like the last third of the book is on relationships, and a lot of that stuff goes out the window once you get into a relationship, because you have to have more communication. You have to open your woman up. You have to be a good listener. You have to be there because, you know, that women want your attention all the time, like he says in the book. And so so Chris Kokoski and I, like, we did a whole episode on just the long-term relationship stuff, because he's been in he found his girlfriend last year. I think they've been together now at the time of this recording, maybe like almost a full year now. And or not the time of the recording, but by the time this drops, I think they will have been together for a year. And it's a strong relationship, and he builds it on the foundation of 3% Man, but it's all on the relationship portions of the book, you know, it's totally different.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So have you found that when you get back into it, sounds like you might have gotten complacent a little bit, which I feel like everyone does.
Yeah, there was a part, it was a couple months back that I realized that for about a month and a half, 2 months, I got like really complacent. Mm-hmm. And yes, I guess that's another aha moment, is the rape me baby type thing that he says to do like every week.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, but me and her had talked about, hey, she likes to call it executive meetings every weekend. And that's what we have. And so we talk about sex, we talk about our relationship, we talk about like personal growth, like what books we're reading, whatever, stuff like that. So that was another aha moment. I was like, holy crap, like we've been doing this for it's almost been 2 years, that I didn't even realize, like every weekend we're talking about like where we're at and how we feel about each other. And so
that's a good practice. I like that.
Yeah, in the beginning it really sucked because it was like we start talking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, how are we fighting right now? Like what's going on? And this was like the first 2 months. Mm-hmm. And it was either her or it was me that I got upset, or like or I said something wrong, or you know, one of the two. But it pays off after the long run. But yeah, definitely there was a little bit of complacent on my part. Mm-hmm. As far as like I had fallen off from working out, and I just wasn't like, I guess, eating healthy and stuff like that. And kind of just like not really like motivated. And she was kind of like talking to me about that, but until recently.
Got it.
really getting back on the horse, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So getting back into it then, have you been practicing being a better listener and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that too. Like I had gotten complacent in that area also. Like when we first moved in, I was like always listening to her and like, pretty much just like, hey, how's your day going? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like that happened at work. And then I was just like, yeah, I just got really complacent. I was like, you know what? I'm already in this relationship. Like it's cool. It's whatever. But just recently I was like, you know what? I have something good. I'm not going to like wait on that, because I think about like my parents, and they had gotten divorced, and I was like, you know what? I don't want that. Like I need to continue to, obviously have the executive meetings is what we call it, and continue to build our relationship. Because if we're not growing, then is what coach says, like if we're not growing together, then we're kind of just like going our separate ways. I think that's how the saying goes.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I really got out of the 3% Man book, and also Dr. Robert Glover's books. The first time I read them, is that like us as men are natural problem solvers. Like you bring us a problem and we're immediately like, well, you should do this. Oh, there's a clear solution to this, And so we like to offer solutions, but women don't want us to solve their problems. They just want us to listen. And have you ever read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus?
No, I haven't. I'm definitely going to put that on my.
The audiobook is only like an hour and a half long.
Okay.
It's or maybe 2 hours long. I don't know, something like that. I listened to it on a commute one time, like to Grand Junction. I went on a date, and like Grand Junction for me is an hour from where I live, Grand Junction, Colorado. And so I drove there, listened to it on the way to the date, had the date. It was like a first date that I was like, nah, I don't like you. Came home, listened to the rest of it on the way home. And like it was a round trip, listen to the whole thing. The big thing I got out of that book, though, was he goes into depth on how like women don't want us to solve their problems. They just want us to listen. But a funny thing that I got out of that book is that men also don't want women to give us advice. Like basically men and women don't want unsolicited advice from each other for different reasons, right? Women just want to be able to work through the problem by vocalizing it, and we're just supposed to listen to it. And then men don't want women to give us advice because we feel like it's stepping on our manhood,
Oh yeah.
It's like asking for directions. Well, why don't you stop and ask for directions? Bitch, I know where I'm going. I got this. I'm a fucking man. So
yeah.
I thought that was hilarious, like listening to that in that book. I definitely recommend that book. I think that's like a one and done book. It's not like 3% Man or Dating Essentials for Men or something like that, where you should read it multiple times, but it's a good one. It's a super quick read. So every man needs to focus on their purpose or mission in life, and just outside of relationships. What is your mission right now? What would you say is your mission?
Me personally, like I want to do like construction. As far as like, my idea is that I kind of want to get my general contractor's license.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of just taking steps to do that. First, I was just like, oh, like I like carpentry, and at first I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. But I got into like more of the looking at what my boss is doing and how he's doing it. I'm like, man, like I kind of want to do this. Like I want to do custom homes, and I like the process of like how everything's done. But yeah, like I think ultimately I would want to do some custom homes. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of like taking steps to do that, like learning how to read blueprints and yeah. So yeah, watching a lot of YouTube videos on that.
How long have you been working in construction?
Since I was 19, so handful of years. So out here in California, you have to be working in construction for 5 years. And I'm not too sure because there was parts where I worked under the table. I don't know if that would count, but I would say a couple more years until I could take the test to do that. So
I don't know why it wouldn't count. unless you have to provide some kind of W-2s or, tax history or some shit to
Yeah,
prove that you
California's
did
really
5 years.
strict.
Yeah. California's stupid. I don't know. I don't like to get into politics too much on the podcast because it's really not really the platform for that. But yeah, I lived in California for about 15 years. I ended up out there in the Navy, and when I got out of the Navy, I just stayed out there. I went to San Diego State for a while. I went through the San Diego Community College District and stuff like Mesa College, City College.
Okay.
You know, bounced around through those schools like Miramar College. They're all in the same district, so I could go to any one of those 3 schools. Did that for a long time. Transferred to state. Went there for a year, and then realized that they didn't have a program that like I was majoring in computer information systems, and when I finally got to university, I realized that that's a programming major, but I want to be in networks and systems and stuff, So I transferred to Coleman University. Do you remember Coleman? Like, did you grow up in San Diego?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Do you remember like the ads during the day for like Coleman College and Coleman University and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I transferred to Coleman after my first year at state because they had a computer networks program and a network security program, and they offered bachelor's degrees and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I'll go there. So I transferred to Coleman and ended up finishing my degrees there. But yeah, so I mean, I lived all over the place there. I lived in El Cajon. I lived down in where was that? Down close to the border. We're like close to by San Ysidro. Where was that?
Imperial Beach.
Yeah, down in Imperial Beach. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived down in Imperial Beach. I lived over by San Diego State for like 6 months. My last house was in Escondido, and yeah, and then I finally moved back to Colorado. I'm originally from Colorado, but the laws in California are just so restrictive there. It's like,
I know.
it's just so bad. And there's a lot of businesses and stuff, and their taxes are so ridiculous and stuff like that. A lot of businesses are leaving. Yeah, it's just not a conducive environment.
I want to, me and her talk about moving out eventually, sometime soon, because I've been born and raised here, but I don't like any of the restrictions and the laws. I'm not, my viewpoints don't go along with how everybody else goes. So
yeah, I found when I lived in San Diego, because I mean it's a military town. It's there's a lot of conservatives in San Diego, but just not enough to fight the onslaught from the Bay Area. Bay Area in LA.
Definitely did.
But I would just say Colorado's full, so don't come here. But where would you move anyway? Where you guys have you guys thought of a place?
For years before everyone started moving to Texas, I was like, oh, that's where I want to go. But now I'm kind of like rethinking that because I know everyone from California is going to Texas, and I don't know. I'm looking at places. I'm looking at like prices and stuff like that. But yeah, we've been definitely talking about moving out of here.
I feel like I'm a little worried about it because a lot of people move from California to Texas, and I feel like Texas is going to become like Colorado, which Colorado used to be a pretty staunch red state. And now it's basically a blue state because of the influx of Californians who moved out of California because the cost of living is so high and all that stuff. So they move here and then they vote for the same policies that cause all the shit out there. So yeah, I feel like that's happening in Texas too. I mean, you look at like Austin. Austin has a huge influx of that, and they're basically a blue city. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's rough. Maybe if you stick it out long enough, all those people will leave you, and then California can go back to normal. Okay, so let's see here. Some of the things I like to do on the 3% Man Facebook page is, not just to encourage guys in their effort to be better with women, but just be better in general, mentally, physically, sometimes spiritually. What are some things that you're doing in those 3 areas to make you a better man in general?
Oh, like I was kind of just piggybacking on what I was saying earlier is like working out, because I know that for me personally, working out it's good for my my health and mental health too, I guess you can say, and just I guess just feeling a lot better. And my girlfriend likes it too, so and
There's a benefit there.
yeah, there is a benefit there. You're saying physical, what were the other 2 again?
Mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Oh, spiritually, recently, me and my girlfriend had started going to church. Before, she was not about that at all. And it really surprised me.
Is she atheist, agnostic, or just
she was
not into church?
Yeah, she was more agnostic. She was raised Mormon, and then she kind of just broke off from there and started she became very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of did my own thing. Like there were times where I kind of prayed here and there, but she came around too, and she's like, hey, let's go to church. And it really caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So that's what we started doing, and that's kind of our spiritual journey, and mine currently too. So
cool. What denomination? What flavor church?
I would just say Christianity, just to make it
yeah. Is it one of those where they have the Christian rock band playing and the fire and brimstone minister, or is it very traditional type church? What
I would say it's the rock church. That's the
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that I would say it's traditional. Yeah, it's pretty traditional.
Okay. But, yeah. The rock church, is that the one that's down by where's that at? Is that over by Point Loma?
There's a couple spots. There's one in Mission Hills, Point Loma area.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one, and they opened up a couple locations. There's another one I believe in San Isidro, but that's just you just watch it on the screen. And there's also another one in El Cajon. So I think that those are just extensions and stuff. So
got it. Yeah. Are you guys allowed to actually go to church now with the COVID restrictions?
We are.
Okay.
Now we are, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, so I think I told you the company I work for, my day job that shall not be named. It's a San Diego company, so all the guys that report to me live in San Diego, and they tell me about the lockdown restrictions and stuff there, which I'm out in the middle of the country, so we don't really have any restrictions here. No one wears masks. It's life's pretty normal around here, but yeah. But yeah, if I go to Denver or something like that, it's very well locked down still. A lot of restaurants are doing outdoors. They put the fucking tents outside though. So they bring the indoors outdoors, and then they're like, oh, this is safer. It's dumb. So retarded. But yeah. So, well, that's good that you guys are at least able to actually go in person. And then you said you go to the gym. What kind of workouts do you like to do? Do you like to run? Do you like to lift mostly? What do you do?
I do some calisthenics type thing. I have a pull-up bar, and I'm on Athlete X's program right now. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah,
it's going pretty good. That guy's videos on YouTube are pretty nuts. Yeah. Guy seems to know what he's talking about though. You guys ripped as hell. Okay, so based on your experience on the 3% path, what kind of advice would you give someone just starting out?
Trying to think of how to put that. I would say for sure sticking to it. First starting out, I guess continue to read the book, reread it. Yeah, man. Another thing, I guess revelation I kind of had a couple months back is there's a time and a place for certain conversations to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had emailed Coach. This is a little example. I had emailed Coach, and he was basically saying he put it up in his videos. It was called "Wondering If She's the One." And
that was yours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
And
look that up. Wondering if she's the one.
yeah. And so basically, I had been very like everything's going good right now between me and her, and she's freaking amazing. It's just I was so used to really shitty relationships that now it's like I'm looking for like, oh, what's gonna happen next, type thing. And so he was basically saying in that video to chill out and
Hang out, have fun, hook up.
exactly, yeah, that too, yeah, and to just basically have that conversation with her. So definitely those executive meetings have paid off. And if you do get into a relationship, definitely have those, because I feel like a lot of stuff that we talk about and coach talks about is like the dating aspect, but also just being consistent, like I was saying, is talking with your girl.
So he recommended having that conversation, like having a conversation as far as like if she's the one, like marriage.
Yeah. So
because
he was basically saying towards the end, don't get the government involved, if you decide to do that. And I've been thinking about it. I'm not ready to get married, but we've been together for so long that I'm like, okay, like I'm thinking she's for me. But then again, that's why I emailed him, because I'm like, I'm 23 and there's that cloud, I guess, that cloud over me. Like maybe I haven't experienced a lot, but at the same time, maybe I'm too close to my own trees that I'm not I'm just overthinking it basically. So
yeah. So I was a guy that I got married when I was 20. I wasn't even old enough. I wasn't even old enough to fucking drink yet. And, and I was married for 14 years. And I basically feel like in hindsight, although I'm grateful that I have my kids out of that, I feel like my 20s were wasted. And I look back on it now, there's no rush especially for men. There's zero rush to get married. Zero. Okay. And men can have children pretty much indefinitely. Like you can have children into your 40s, 50s, 60s, even if I wouldn't recommend that, but there's no rush for that stuff. Like you should be focusing on building your fortune in your 20s and then maybe settling down in your 30s, I would say, is probably a smarter way to do it. Now, women, on the other hand, they have a biological clock that they're racing, right? So they need to be having kids before they hit 40. Otherwise, they start getting into danger zone territory where if they get pregnant in their 40s and stuff like that, there's like higher, numbers of birth defects, all sorts of stuff. So women, we have it better as men, where we have time on our side. I definitely I would recommend. I mean, if you love this girl and she's, she is the one, I would just, I wouldn't bring it up. But the funny thing is that you said that he talked about having a conversation with her, which is sort of goes against the book, right? Like the book talks about like letting the relationship stuff be the women's job. And,
well, she had been talking about it for the past for the past 6 months. Like we would, for example, we go to Costco, we do we do shopping every weekend or so, and we pass by the rings and stuff. She's like, oh, look at this, and
dropping.
And I'm just hits. I'm all eerie about it. I get I'm like, okay, come on, let's keep walking. I'll make a joke or something. I'll be like, oh, look over here. And, and so, after a while, I'm just I do I see what happens to guys, and it's happening with my, I was talking to my brother the other day. I was like, imagine how different it'd be if my dad and my mom had got a prenup or something like that, they wouldn't be going through what they're going through right now. And so I actually,
are your parents going through a divorce right now?
Yeah, they're going through a divorce right now.
Okay.
So I think about that, and I'm just so I did have that conversation with her on the weekend, and I was just I mean, I'm not saying anytime soon or anytime I want to get married, but if I do, then I would definitely do a prenup and she was just like, okay, like that's
Yeah.
cool. I was honestly like, I know a lot of, and I see videos like this where girls like, they hear that from a guy and they like lose it. And I'm like, whoa, like that's
a red flag.
That's a red flag. Yeah, that's a red flag for me. But she was definitely like, oh yeah, I'm down for that. But not anytime.
The thing is, so I talk about that a lot in my TikTok videos is I would, and I also talk about it on the podcast, I think before, is I would absolutely never get married again without a prenup and separate banking accounts. And the separate banking accounts thing is because when I was married, I would say 99% of our fights and arguments were about money,
Dang.
and also my ex-wife is a money grubber, but I feel like if I go into my next relationship, I want to take those types of things off the table, right? Like if you sign if you sign a prenup, then I know that the relationship is about us, not what you think you could fucking get out of it after, like, if this doesn't work out. And, I want to be protected. And then the separate banking accounts thing, we would have like a joint account where, we all put our money in for bills and stuff like that. And we make sure our bills get paid. But otherwise do whatever the fuck you want to do with your money, and then I'm not arguing with you when you're going out and buying shoes and shit. And and then I had Matt Sandifer on months and months ago. Matt Sandifer is a 3% brother from Baton Rouge. He's an actual divorce attorney. And we talked about that on the podcast, like prenups. And one of the things that he said that he tells women, because a lot of women do look at it like, what can I get out of this? He tells them, like, look, if you don't sign a prenup, like, you get a good portion of his debt if he runs up debt, and you don't want any of that either as a man. If you get out of a relationship, you don't want to be straddled with debt, especially if your woman sucks with money. So yeah, prenups are an absolute must. Another thing though, that I've heard a lot on TikTok in the comments is that a lot of prenups don't get held up in court, especially.
Oh yeah. I've heard that too. And it depends on like the judge and stuff.
Yeah. Cause some prenups, like, the woman's attorney will argue that, she signed it under duress, especially if it's really close to the wedding day. So some attorneys are smart now where they'll actually record it. They'll record a video and record the signing so that you could prove that it wasn't under duress. And then also I've heard that for it to really be enforceable is you need to every couple of years do a post-nup and renew that shit. So that way.
What the heck? Okay. Yeah. That's things definitely to reconsider.
Well, it's something to think about. Something I would recommend. I would recommend the two of you sitting down with an attorney and just have that discussion with an attorney before you guys actually pull that trigger, if that's where you decide to go. Just so that all the dirt that possibly can happen, you guys can work that out while you're still in love with each other. Because that's that's the crux of it, right? When the divorce happens, like, knives come out and shit, and like, it's best to have these types of conversations when you guys are having good feelings about each other, I think. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, I don't know if I go back to, I don't know if I'll ever get married again, to, yeah, I could do it again. I think I could do it again and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't get it at a young age, like you. And if I did, it would, if I get married again at all, it would definitely be prenup and separate banking accounts for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this is almost all my questions. I only have really one question left, but and that's, what does being a 3% man mean to you?
Being a 3% man is having drive and purpose in your life. Kind of like what it says in the book, breaking through barriers. And also, I think that also, like, being very patient. I feel like a lot of guys don't have a lot of patience, especially today. And
yeah,
I feel like we need that. So
no, we definitely do. I just had on, in fact, it'll drop. Oh, I think I bumped his episode up early. There's a, are you on TikTok?
I'm not.
You're not on TikTok. No. Well, there's a dating coach on TikTok. His name is Evan, and his TikTok channel is called Performance Potential. And he's got, I don't know, 150,000 followers or whatever. And so he was just on recently and we were talking, and that's the number one thing he tells men is like, you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. Too much of us are in a rush. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, one thing I did want to say, I was trying to think of it when we were talking about prenups. And one thing that I didn't realize when I was young and rushing to get married is that a lot of times when you're young, you don't have a lot of money yet. So you're thinking, so a lot of younger people get married and they're like, well, why sign a prenup? I don't have anything yet. You will someday. Yeah. And when you do, it can be taken from you. So like for instance, when I met my now ex-wife, I was a sailor, I was in the Navy, didn't make a whole lot of money. And then, but after 14 years of marriage, I had built a career in IT and I was actually making really good money. And she went after me for alimony. I had to pay her like almost 20 grand a year for 5 years. So yeah, that's something to think about as a young buck, like you might not have money now, but you will. You will, especially if you're smart with your money and stuff like that. All right, Reuben. Well, it was good having you on today, man.
Thank you.
All right, dude. I will see you on the page. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Reuben, thanks for joining me. I hope that our conversation resonated with you a little bit, especially, in your conversation with your gal that you're dating. You're thinking about if she's the one or not. Lots of stuff, like hopefully a lot of the things I told you are good food for thought. Learn from some of us old dogs' mistakes, before rushing into anything crazy. But I know you're going to make the right decision. You're a 3% man. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again, and we'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Come On, Man. If you're new to the podcast, I highly recommend reading How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne at least 10 to 15 times. I recommend you watch his coaching videos on YouTube, and I recommend that you engage with other 3% men in our 3% Man Facebook group. Links to all of these are in the show notes. If you like this episode, please give us a good rating on your podcast platform of choice and share with all of your bros. Now go out and get it.